No, this isn't about the show Num 3ers. This is about shows that have numbers in the title. Also, no, I'm not running out of themes. I just thought this was a fun angle to look at some of these shows. It'll make sense in a minute. Ark II. Ark II takes place in the year 2476, the 25th century. The Earth's been destroyed by pollution, and a team of scientists travel around in a suspiciously familiar-looking RV called the Ark II. Each episode, they research the area and work to rebuild civilization. The inspiration for the show was taken from the story of Noah's Ark from the Bible. Although instead of gathering 2 from each species to save from the apocalypse, they travel around searching for remnants of humanity and teaching them long-lost knowledge as a way to help them survive and rebuild this new world. The characters Jonah, Ruth, Samuel, and Adam were all names taken from the Hebrew Bible. The show premiered on September 11, 1976 on CBS. The show was produced by Filmation, a company largely known for their animated shows like The New Adventures of Superman and Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. While the Ark II does look very similar to another futuristic RV, the Landmaster from Damnation Alley, it was quite different. While the Landmaster was designed to be its own thing, the Ark II is sort of like a Franken vehicle. It was a fiberglass body welded onto the frame of a modified Ford truck. The series just never took off and it was canceled. The show ran for 1 season with 15 episodes. The last episode aired on December 18, 1976. However, it did continue to air for a while, and many years later, it was run on the Sci-Fi Channel. They sunk a lot of money into the Ark II vehicle, so they recycled it for other Funimation shows. They chopped off the front and used it as part of the spaceships in Space Academy and Jason of Star Command. This series was released on DVD back in 2006. It was digitally remastered and includes a variety of bonus features. The DVD is long out of print, and it is available on eBay, but it's not cheap. The show isn't available for streaming, but all the episodes are on YouTube. VR5. VR5 is a show about an advanced virtual reality world, where you can not only interact with other people, but you can change things in the real world. VR5 aired on March 10, 1995 on Fox. I'm sure you know what that means. The series was about Sydney Bloom, played by Laurie Singer. She's a technical whiz and the daughter of Dr. Bloom, a brilliant scientist who was developing new VR tech but died in a horrible accident. After discovering she can enter the VR world with her computer, on dial-up no less, she's contacted by a secret society called the Committee and has to go on VR missions to change the world. It sounds silly, but in the context of the show, it works. In typical Fox fashion, they skipped episodes 3 and 9. So here was this show where there was an intricate ongoing storyline, and they were leaving out chunks of the story. Later in the season, they introduced Oliver Sampson, played by Anthony Stewart Head. It's possible if this show was a hit, we might have had a different Giles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The weird mix of practical effects and mid-1990s CG didn't come cheap, and it cost about $1.5 million per episode. With the high cost of the show and the low ratings, it just wasn't doing well enough to continue. Beyond that, the show was just a bit too out there for audiences at the time, and since it was on Fox, they killed the show before airing the full season. They produced 13 episodes but only aired 10. The last episode aired on May 12, 1995. Episodes 3, 9, and 13 never aired on Fox. The show went into syndication in other countries like Canada, although strangely, they ran the episodes out of order. The series eventually ended up on the Sci-Fi Channel, where they finally ran all the episodes in order. Despite what you see on Wikipedia, the show is not available on DVD. The cover they have is from the bootleg you can get at various conventions. I know this because it's the version that I have. Hey, it was the only way to get the show. I'd gladly buy it if it was available, but it's not. It seems like the show was available for streaming at some point, but it's not anymore. The full series from the bootleg is on YouTube. Special Unit 2. Special Unit 2 is about a top-secret unit in the Chicago Police known as Special Unit 2. The series was kind of like Men in Black, only instead of tracking down aliens, they were in charge of keeping the city's mythological creatures, or Lynx, under control. The series was essentially a Creature of the Week program. They encountered everything from werewolves to mummies to witches. The headquarters was based in the back of a dry cleaning shop in the city, which they used to open each episode. It had a very tongue-in-cheek vibe, and while there were more tense moments within the series, there was a lot that was done for laughs. It often played out like a less serious version of the X-Files. They even made sure to include some sexual tension between Nick and Kate, the two leads. Special Unit 2 premiered on April 11th, 2001 on UPN. Season 1 was a test, and they only paid for 6 episodes. It did so well, they doubled the order for Season 2 and filmed 13 more episodes. The show was doing better than many other UPN shows, but it was still canceled. Much like I said when I spoke about Harsh Realm, this time, it was UPN going through a management change, and the new bosses killed most of the shows they weren't involved in. The last episode aired on February 11th, 2002. The show ran for 2 seasons with 19 episodes. Seems like this also made its way to Sci-Fi. In 2017, the show was released on DVD, but it's out of print. It's not available for streaming, but it is on YouTube. Odyssey 5. Odyssey 5 is about 5 astronauts in the year 2007. While they're on a mission in space, something happens on Earth which causes the whole thing to explode. The group's now trapped alone in space orbiting the wreckage of Earth. They're found by an alien craft that's been investigating similar incidents like this around the galaxy. They send the astronauts back in time 5 years within their own lives, and they need to figure out what happened and somehow stop it. The show was a Canadian production that was picked up for airing in the US on the cable network Showtime. Much like the plot of the show, the series was planned to run for 5 seasons, with each year being a season within the show, either succeeding or failing at stopping the Earth from exploding. The show premiered on June 21st, 2002 on Showtime. The show was written and created by Manny Coto. Coto had a long history of working in horror and sci-fi. He wrote episodes of Dead at 21, Star Trek Enterprise, and The Outer Limits. He also directed movies like Dr. Giggles and Xenon the Zequel. The series starred Peter Weller as Commander Chuck Taggart. Part of the interesting thing about the show was that even though they were a team, they didn't get along. So now here is this group of coworkers who don't like each other, who have to put all that aside to work together in order to save the planet. Beyond that, there's something on the planet that doesn't want them to succeed and is trying to stop them. Even though the show was mapped out for 5 seasons, Showtime canceled the series after 1. It ran for 1 season with 19 episodes. The final one aired on October 15th, 2002. Manny Coto and Peter Weller really loved the show and were openly vocal in their disappointment of its cancellation. Coto had stated he wanted to return to the series at some point and give it a proper conclusion. It was rumored that perhaps the final 4 years could have been told in comic book form or something of the sort. Sadly, it is unlikely that will ever happen. Coto died of pancreatic cancer on July 9th, 2023. The show did make the rounds on various networks. They aired it on Sci-Fi, but had to censor the swearing and nudity. It was released on DVD, but say it with me, it's out of print. It's not too expensive on the used market, though. This series isn't available for streaming, but it is on YouTube. Earth II. Earth II is about a small group of human settlers that have to leave Earth and inhabit Earth II. On Earth 1, there's a virus called the Syndrome, and they're sending these people to stay on Earth 2 to hopefully find a cure. G889, which the humans have named Earth 2, was supposed to be uninhabited, but as the humans soon discover, there's a variety of different aliens that live on the planet already. To make matters worse, they also discover a group of humans that are already on the planet. The government had been using this place as a penal colony as a way to get information about it before sending any astronauts. They regretfully forgot to inform the settlers that they might run into them. The series was produced by Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment and Universal TV. It premiered on November 6, 1994 on NBC. The pilot received very positive numbers, but week after week, those numbers kept slipping and it never recovered. Earth 2 is supposed to be a more desolate version of Earth, and so they filmed it in fairly unpleasant locations like Diablo Canyon, New Mexico. With the high cost of production and the low ratings, the show was canceled. It ran for 1 season with 21 episodes. The last episode aired on June 4th, 1995. Looking back on the show, it was groundbreaking sci-fi. This was the first sci-fi TV series to have a female commander, beating Star Trek Voyager's Captain Janeway by 2 months. To continue the series, 3 Earth 2 novels were published. The first was a novelization of the pilot, and the other 2 were original stories set within the Earth 2 universe. In 1995, the full series was released on DVD, but it's out of print. The show used to be on Netflix back when they were good, but it's not anymore. It's not available for streaming, but it is on YouTube. That's 5 shows with numbers. Lots more to come. Stay tuned.
Poison gas? Man, that's deadly stuff. Hasn't been used for hundreds of years.